Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the Rate My Placement STEM virtual event. For anyone who's joining us again, welcome back. Hope you had a really productive and inspiring day yesterday. And for any newcomers, welcome. Very good to have you along. So we've got 4 great sessions on the main stage today. That's where we are at the moment. We'll be hearing from 4 great employers. So in order to make the most out of today, feel free to use the chat, and if you've got any questions, please use the Q&A. So that is on the chat on the right hand side. If you're in the stage Q&A, please make sure you put your questions in there, and I'll be joining the panelists to ask them some questions at the end. Also, please make use of the networking booths. They're called the employer booths on the left hand side, especially between stage presentations. It's a great opportunity to ask any more individual one-to-one questions in there. So that's a little bit about the format of today. But for now, I will welcome the Mazars team to the stage, and I will hand you over to Laura, Ellen, and Kathleen to kick things off. So welcome.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll be starting off the presentation today. So I'm Kathleen. So I'm one of the student recruitment assistant managers that's based in our London office at Mazars. And I've also got Laura and Ellen, who are based in our technology and digital team in the London office. So I'm hoping my slides are working. So I'm just going to kind of introduce a little bit as to who we are, if you haven't heard of Mazars before. So we're an international firm, so we're a professional services firm who are fully integrated kind of globally in the world. And we work in kind of lots of different sectors. We have an audit team, an advisory and consulting team, a tax team, a private client team, an accounting and outsourcing team, and also the business services team that I'm based in. So we'll be focusing today on our technology and digital team. So that's what Laura and Ellen will be talking through. So just a little bit more about kind of who we are and kind of where we are in the world. So we're in over 90 countries now. So it's a very exciting time at Mazars, and that's kind of where we are kind of based currently in the world. And then in terms of specifically the UK, we've got 16 offices in the UK, and we've got over 2,300 people working with us here. We recruit only into 13 of our offices, but for specifically the technology and digital team, we only recruit into our Leeds, Manchester, and London office, which is why I've kind of highlighted them in bold. So I'm now going to just quickly run through kind of our application process currently. Then obviously when we get to the Q&A, you can ask me some more questions about that. So we've kind of got a similar format to some of the other firms that you might have seen. So we have an online application form that we ask you to fill out. So we ask you kind of the standard questions, a little bit about yourself, kind of your education background, and also kind of your work experience. And then we ask you a question that's focused on your motivation. So why Mazars, why this role, why this team, and that kind of thing. Once you submit your application, then you then go into our online strength assessment. So there'll be kind of strengths questions, so kind of an aptitude test, and then you'll also do a numerical reasoning test. If you're successful in our testing, we go back and screen your application. And if you're successful in your application, you'll then be invited to a first stage interview. They are all conducted by our recruitment team, and they're all done on the phone. And they are kind of competency-based questions. If you're successful in that, you'll then be invited to one of our assessment centres. Currently, they are all still virtual. I don't see that changing kind of anytime soon. So you kind of take part in a day that I'm actually running today in the background, so from 9 until 2:30. And you'll take part in a one-to-one interview with one of the senior members in the team. You'll do a group exercise. You'll also do a case study, and again, you'll do an online numerical test, which is a retest of the testing that you did previously. But we do provide you with lots of information between that. We also provide you something a little bit different, to provide you with applicant mentoring phone calls before your assessment centre. So that's a great opportunity for you to speak to someone within the team before coming to the day. And we also provide you with another call the day before the assessment centre, just to kind of run through the day, because obviously we know it's very different doing it virtually. So you just want to make sure you're as ready for the day as you can be. So I'm now going to hand over to Laura and Ellen within our technology and digital team, who'll run through the roles that we have available and a little bit about themselves as well.
Hi, hello everyone. Okay, so I'm Laura, and I'm gonna cover the part on IT assurance and cybersecurity. Just to give you some background information on what I've been doing and my career. So I joined Mazars like in 4 years ago, but previously to this, I actually studied like business administrations, and I focused on a bit audit. I always knew I like audit and systems, right? So I focused a bit on that on my last year. Um, then I worked like in PwC and in other firms, and somehow um, I ended up working in jobs related to operational and security risks. I did also some data analytics work in a small firm as well. Um, and I work in central banking around supervising like banks and stuff like that. So that's how I ended up in technology risk consulting, let's say. And during these 4 years in Mazars, I've been focusing in IT assurance, as I said, and where we do like external audit support. So you have the typical financial audit where there is some IT requirements that we need to fill in, and we do also like IT assurance, other kind of more advisory work and so on. So that's what I've been doing. Um, Regarding on the different openings that we have long on IT assurance, but also in cybersecurity. In cybersecurity part, there are like two main areas. One is on ethical hacking, and the other one is more cyber advisory, which is like doing like maturity assessment of the company security and how they're dealing with it. So we do like this kind of assessments. Um, we also have openings in IT assurance as such, which is a generic profile, also focused on IT. Regarding the skills for IT assurance, in my case, for example, or in what you would do, we do a wide range of things from testing automatic controls to, for example, performing some data analytics work as well. And in cybersecurity is more focused on security, so it has to deal with like what kind of networks capability or security frameworks that they are actually assessing. I think that's somehow a bit of a summary. So I'm gonna I follow up to you, Helen, that she's gonna tell you more about the data and automation.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Hello, everyone. I'm Evin. I'm data analytics manager within data and automation team within Mazars. My background is primarily in banking, and before Mazars, for the last 12 years, I have been working as in a commercial bank, and my latest years as a managing director. And I covered completely different spheres like finance, strategy, risk management, investor relations. But data analytics accompanied all my professional path there. And I think I always used it as an advantage for me in different spheres which I covered. Initially, my interest in big data analytics was formed in the bank's capital markets department because presentations of these findings, of analytics findings, help us to attract long-term investments. And this later transformed into decision analytics, primarily in financial management, and then predictions for strategy development for the bank. And I think now, currently in Mazars, this experience helped me to help our clients across a wide variety of sectors to get maximum of advanced big data analytics and also from intelligent automation of their processes. I think if you're considering a career in technology, of course, it's better always to negotiate for yourself and find an employer who will appreciate your professional views and how much you contribute to the company. I think Mazars culture, it's exactly the culture where you can thrive, where your voice will be heard, where you will develop your skills, receive different qualifications that you would like to, you will be able to pursue interest in different spheres. Because data and automation, of course, give you opportunity to develop your skills across a wide very wide variety of directions. And currently we are a growing team. We are a very ambitious team. We are hiring particularly for two big directions. First of all, big data analytics, and secondly, software development, robots and platform development. In big data analytics, what we offer our clients is, it could be, for example, financial analytics like revenue recognition or payroll analytics, any kind of expenses analytics, or what segments, what products are the most profitable. In software development, it could be front-end, back-end development, or combination of both. Because currently, I think, and I would recommend you not only to get understanding of of the technologies, of the instruments themselves, but also it would be great if you, in each your project, in each your in the area, if you can primarily understand the processes themselves, and what the client do and what you can offer in order to make these processes automated and control and manageable. So this would be my recommendations. Of course, it would be great to also to reach. I would recommend reaching all of the opportunities, all the chances your professional path gives you, and so never miss an opportunity. And I think we can move to the Q&A session.
Hi there. Thank you very much for that. That's very interesting. So yeah, we've had some really good questions come through. So I will have a look at those and ask them accordingly. So there's a couple of recruitment ones. So I'd imagine they'll be going to you, Kathleen, and a few about time within Mazars. So Ellen and Laura will go over to you for those. So you mentioned, I think, during the assessment that you ask motivation questions, what motivates the applicants. So what kind of things are you looking for in those motivation questions that you mentioned?
Yeah, no, of course. Just a really good understanding of Mazar and kind of why you're specifically applying to us, but also the role. So we always look out for people that have done a little bit more than just kind of read our website. So also kind of have looked into a little bit more about us kind of outside of that. But obviously really reading the job description, understanding exactly what you're applying to, and also a mention of the qualification. So there's lots of different kind of qualifications depending on where you apply to within our technology and digital team. So really it's just a strong understanding of both Mazars and the role.
Yeah, do your research. And I guess what apart aside from reading the website, have you got any other recommendations of things that students could do in order to really get themselves clued up on what it is they're applying for?
Yeah, of course. We've got a YouTube channel that you can have a look at. We've also got podcasts. I know that some of the students mentioned. There's obviously lots of different reports that you can read that we kind of publish on our website. We've got a LinkedIn page that we post what's kind of happening at Mazars as well. We've also got an Instagram page where we post about our opportunities and that kind of thing. So there's lots of different ways to kind of learn about us.
Yeah, lots of engage with the social media. The podcast sounds interesting. Is that so is that a recruitment related one specifically, or is that just?
I think it's more of a Mazars one. I just know some of the students have obviously mentioned it at the assessment centre, and they say that they've listened and enjoyed listening to it. So it's obviously something a little bit different that we've just started doing. Yeah,
love that. Really good. And then, yeah, thank you very much for all the questions that are coming through. Some really great ones here as well. So someone says, what degrees are you looking for the data and automation roles? And I guess just generally, are there any particular degree areas that are either really welcomed or would maybe cut you out?
Thank you very much. I think primarily all candidates have equal opportunities. We within our recruitment process, we meet people from very unique professional paths, and there is, I think, there is no linear career here. It's always that we are all coming from different spheres, and we always try to utilize this experience, and that we all in our team can look at one and the same problem from different angles. So I think it would not be one formula, but your interest and your wide skill of your expertise or skills will help you to progress.
Amazing. And then just to add, so we have added, this is the first time we're recruiting into the data and automation team specifically. So we do ask for students to come from obviously a STEM background as what we've put on our website. So that's just kind of the main things that they just have to come from that background.
Great. And we've got a kind of related question here. So some aspects might have been covered, but there might be some additional bits that you can add to it as well. So thank you very much for this question. How much prior knowledge and skills do you need, and how much can you learn on the job?
I might open that up to Ellen in terms of kind of the training, but I could start off a little bit. So we only ask for kind of a degree background, but we have put on for the specific role. So I think it's data and automation or ethical hacking role. I'm trying to remember now because it's new for me, and our cybersecurity role. That there is some kind of like optional things that'd be great if you had it. So some tech stuff that obviously I'm maybe not as clued up on as maybe Ellen would be. So we just kind of say kind of desirable skills, knowledge, kind of maybe like Python and that kind of thing. Obviously, I'm not the right person to be answering that part of this question. And then on the job, we do kind of a welcome week. So you get lots of trainings, you do skills sessions, and then past that, I think we offer specific certificates within the field is what we're looking at the moment. So they'll kind of, it won't be kind of full qualification, but we'll be working on certain certificates that will match the role that they've applied for. I don't know, Ellen, if you've got anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think basic technical assessment always will cover some parts of coding in Python or some solving some SQL tasks. But at the same time, if a candidate, for example, prefer other programming languages, we always give opportunity to show the solution. And I think in the technical assessment, of course, primarily we are looking at how we are looking at logical thinking, forward thinking, and the approach itself. Not if, for example, a candidate during the technical assessment doesn't remember some syntaxes, it doesn't matter at all. It's more about approach and how you would, during the technical assessment, you just could demonstrate how you will solve your tasks in practice. And regarding the trainings we are offering and courses we are offering here and qualifications, of course, they cover the very wide spectrum of qualification certifications, which you would also be needed further after graduation. And so we also give this opportunity to receive the certificates within Mazars.
Great, thank you. Yeah, really good level of detail there, and it's great that you get some kind of qualifications and get some certification along the way as well. So that really helps boost people's knowledge and CVs. So someone else has asked a question, just asking to explain a little bit more about IT assurance and what sort of things you'll be working on.
Yeah, so in IT assurance, it's a, let's say, an overarching area, right? And what you could do is, one part of it would be like supporting of external audits. So you have the financial audits. Obviously, all these accounts, they are hosted in a system. So we need to support our core audit financial auditors. And the way we do it is we need to perform controls over systems because, for example, there are some systems that they might have controls around approval. So instead of them doing what is called substantive testing, like taking samples and so on, we might need to assess configurations. So we need to have that understanding on the system. So we do all that kind of thing. We support them with data analytics. Is different, for example, what Ellen is doing, that she's doing automation, right, which is more like consulting work. What we do is we extract data, we analyze the queries, we understand that all the queries are complete and accurate. We might need to do some automatic reconciliations, maybe using a program. So we support them in all that kind of understanding. And we also need to have like knowledge on security, logical security, change management, in the sense of how development changes can affect a system, hence affect the accounts. So we assess the full environment for a company. It's a very wide process, and obviously depends on the company, the sector, and so on. So that's a big part of it. And another one would be internal audit, would be like us. but it's focused on IT, would be as, for example, a company is undergoing like some process and they want some independent opinion on it. Like, let's say they had some incident related to their IT environment, so they bring us up to give an opinion or to give some assessment or things like that. There are we also do controls testing, so we go to a company, they have like a risk management framework, which is what kind of controls they have in place, what kind of measures and processes. We might sort of judge them, or we might sort of give them some um, independent opinion around those. So it's very over a big area, and from that I would say they emanate other ones. So obviously, if it's more specialized, like cybersecurity, they do something more specific. But obviously in IT assurance we cover security as such as well, and also data analytics a bit, and so on.
Amazingly detailed answer, thank you. And we've clearly got a student who's interested in finding out more about the cybersecurity role as well. So I guess a similar question. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
bit more about what the day-to-day is like in cybersecurity?
Yeah, so in cyber, as I was mentioning, there are like two different big areas. One is more around cyber advisory, which is you go to a company and you might assess like the cyber maturity framework they have. There are different frameworks like NIST and so on. These are like standards. So where you go and where do you have your assets, what are the main assets of the company, which is generally the database, how they are protected, how and you check also controls around detection, protection, and so on. um so this is more like review process where you work with the company together, and to understand what happened in the past, if there were any events as well, and how you help them to evolve and mature and improve their security landscape, and so on. And the other part is more related to ethical hacking, which is, I know sounds fancy, right? Well, it's like you are a good hacker, but basically what happens is that a company, and there are different frameworks here as well, a company would like to do like some testing on actually how effectively their network is secured. So there are like some red teaming, purple teaming. There's a different frameworks where we go, and we have different tools that we use, and we try to enter, obviously with the permission of the company, like their network. These exercises can be very wide, and they are planned also with some parts of the client, right? Like we might need to understand how their Active Directory or their network works. We might need, sometimes exercises could be like even phishing exercises. We might need to see how a company is ready, or the employees are, their awareness as well. That's part of it, but other technical part is also checking like uh, can we get, for example, to the CEO's email easily or stuff like that.
Wow, yeah, I mean, sounds very, very interesting and very exciting. And we all know that
Yeah.
cybersecurity is a very important thing, especially within, financial organizations, et cetera, et cetera. So it's some really important work. Thank you for that, Laura.
No.
There a couple of questions kind of loosely related to, I guess, the recruitment, but also maybe more when a student would start at Mazars. So is there a good social scene, and how does everyone get to know each other? And I guess especially we hopefully coming out of COVID times now, but especially with more virtual environment.
Yeah, I can kind of touch upon that. So obviously for our September 2020 intake, it was all fully virtual. It was very exciting this year that we could kind of change that up a little bit. So we had a bit of a hybrid approach. So what we do is we have a welcome week. So all of the students that join us in September join kind of that same week. So it's gone very dark in the office. So on the Monday, we kind of did it fully remotely. We had it actually very high tech this year. We had a green screen. So you can kind of, it looked like the people are in, it looked like they were at kind of a rooftop bar is what it looked like to me. And then we had some of our presenters kind of present them throughout the day. And then the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they were in the office. Then the Friday, you're back remote again. And so then you could really kind of integrate with your kind of team, whereas I felt like the students last year who were kind of fully remote, it was a lot more difficult to kind of get that interaction. So we had lots of different kind of meeting bits on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where they can kind of get to know each other. And then they had a team day as part of that as well. It's kind of past that, the social life, I guess that's kind of Laura and Ellen who kind of touch upon what it's like within their teams. But I think we are a really kind of sociable office. We do lots of events. We obviously have like different things throughout the year that you can get involved in. Netball team and that kind of thing that I know a couple of the tech girls are in. But yeah, Laura and Ellen, anything to add to that and how you kind of integrate the new students?
Maybe I can add just currently I think what I prefer in our team that in Mazars that you always can choose what is the best way for you, because we're all different. Some people, some individuals would like to work more from home. Some individuals would like to go to the office, and I think Mazars just combine and give these opportunities. Whatever you prefer. If somebody prefer 100% from home, it's wonderful. It's possible too, and you will be integrated by online meetings during the day. And if you prefer to be more in the office, it's also possible, and there is no like strict boundaries for this.
Great, thank you. And also a related question as well. So maybe not quite so much the social scene. So Lucy, thank you very much for putting this one through. Are there any mentoring and support when you start at Mazars?
Yeah, so we organise a buddy before you start, so you've kind of got a little bit of a point of contact, then that they will either remain as your mentor, or you might get someone a little bit different, kind of depending on which team you join. So they're kind of there to support you. So obviously you've got your line manager, which obviously is expected. You've got obviously the partners in the team, but the buddy is there just to kind of ask questions you might not want to ask your line manager. So kind of if you've got a quick question about what you need to do in a task and that kind of thing. So that's really what the point of that is. You've got that kind of point of contact as you make your way through. You're studying with us. And yeah, so that's kind of how we work. And then you kind of have one-to-one mentors and everything like that. So there's lots of different kind of things that you can get involved in terms of kind of getting mentoring throughout your career with us.
Great, thank you. I'm just looking down some of the questions. So loads coming in. So thank you very much, everybody. Yes, I guess a couple just want to know about the opportunities there are. So placements and internships and graduate schemes. There are opportunities for all of those, Mazars?
There are, obviously not within specifically the technology and digital team. So I don't know if that's kind of where they're heading towards, but obviously we do have kind of placement opportunities within our audit teams. But in terms of the technology and digital team, it's all graduate or like one post-grad opportunity. So we've got, we kind of touched upon it earlier, so we've got ethical hacking, cybersecurity, data and automation, tech advisory, tech assurance, and technology and digital, which is kind of the team that Laura was talking about earlier. So there's lots of different opportunities to get within the technology and digital team at Mazars. So it's very new for us this year to be recruiting so kind of specifically into the teams. It used to kind of be one big intake and then they'd kind of separate out at that point. But now this year we're really kind of focusing towards kind of getting people that are motivated towards the team that they're going to end up joining.
Sounds good, and excellent knowledge of the different roles there as well. Well recalled. So we've had a question from Noelani. So we talked about mentoring, talked about the social scene. Is there any opportunities outside of work that you can get involved in?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess, I don't know if you mean by socially or something work related, but we've got a CSR group. So that's something that you can do at Mazars. You get a Mazars day. So what that is that you can kind of go and volunteer somewhere. It's kind of up to you whether you do that with Mazars or whether it's something that you're really passionate about. So that's something we do. And we also kind of do lots of sporting stuff, which I don't tend to get too involved in, but I can kind of be vague about it. So I know that they kind of have a team that do kind of a team race, and that's kind of for charity. As I mentioned, we've got kind of a netball team. I think there's a football team again. Obviously, that's not something I'm too involved in, but that's kind of things that you can do outside of work to kind of really get to know some of your peers. Amazing.
Thank you very much. Right, just conscious of time. I think there's a couple more specific questions that have come in. So I would really advise to go and join Ellen, Kathleen and Laura in the employee booth straight after this. And There's one, for example, about roles starting in beginning of 2022, for example. Is maybe great booth questions, and maybe just a final thing for kind of final reminder from you, Kathleen. So if people have liked what they've heard today, what is the next thing that they should do in order to get applying?
Yeah, of course. So unfortunately, we're not going to be in the booth, but we do have people in the booth that are very prepared for these kinds of questions. So yes, obviously we're live with all of our vacancies now. So you can kind of go onto our website, kind of search, and there'll be a lot more detail in terms of all of the jobs that I slightly touched upon there to get your application submitted, because it's obviously like a rolling basis. So if it is something that you're particularly passionate about, we recommend that you apply sooner rather than later. And we'll be starting kind of our virtual assessment centres early November this year to start filling our roles for September 2022.
Lovely stuff. Right. Thank you all to all three of you. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you for all the questions that are coming in. These two won't be in the booth, but some great delegation to their colleagues. So if there's any more further questions, go and visit the booth. But again, thank you so much for taking part today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.